Did you know that 99% of players, especially over 50, never ever have to learn, not even bother with, and forget about mastering the drop, or commonly known as the third shot drop? You do not need it. In fact, what I'm going to teach you is, if you're in that 1%, you want to know, well, maybe I should have to learn how to drop, Mark. Okay, I'm going to go through that right now. And more importantly, instead of learning how to do a drop, I'm going to tell you what's going to make your game way better and what you should focus on instead of a third shot or a drop. Stay with me. All right, so let's look at a drop. Now, first and foremost, let's just go through very quickly whether you even need to bother mastering, because it is very difficult to master. You see the pros do it on YouTube, and the reason that they can do it so well is they've spent thousands upon thousands of hours, and they are advanced players, and they're using them because they need to against other advanced players. So let's go into why you do not need to learn a drop. First and foremost, let's go through a process of elimination. Now, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I kind of shaky, Mark. I know a drop. It's I'm not really sure that I do know exactly what you're talking about when you say a third shot drop. If you don't know what a third shot drop is, you don't need to learn it. It's that simple, because it means you're a beginner, right? Beginners do not need this shot. So as I said, stay with me, because I'm going to tell you what you should focus on instead. So that's it. If you don't know what a third shot drop is or a drop is, you don't need to learn it. That's simple. Now, if I said to you, what is your duper score? And you say to me, can you repeat that? I'm not really sure what a duper score is. You don't need to learn a drop. You're a beginner, you don't know what a duper score is, it doesn't matter, I'm going to teach you what you should be focusing on instead, and it's not a drop. Now, if your duper score is, say, 4.0 and below, you do not need to learn to do a drop, okay? If you're 4.0 and above and you're playing players that are 4.0 and above, only then are you going to need to start learning how to do drops. But however, that is in the 1%, okay? 4.0 and above players consistently above that level, then you're going to need it. As I say, 99% of people over 50 are not in that range. Why do you not need to learn a drop? Because, well, first of all, let's go back. Why do you need to do a drop? Why are the pros doing a drop? Because at the 4.0 level and above, well, you are below that. Here's what you're playing, and this is what you're doing right now. Especially if you're ex-tennis, you're hitting your forehand drives, your backhand drives, hitting them at the person at the net, and they're having troubles because you've got a powerful forehand, a topspin backhand, a slice backhand, whether at the net, whether at the baseline, and you can get your game, you can win your matches on that slice backhand, on that deep forehand, on those great volleys that you've got in your smash, okay? And that is what will win your games time and time again. That's why you don't need a drop. Because remember, a drop, risk versus reward, it is very difficult to master. You'll hit them into the net, or you'll pop them up and they'll smash them away. And why do you need to do a drop? Right, advanced players do a drop because your main weapons, which are your big forehand, your backhand, where the person at the net doesn't know, or the person's back at the baseline and they're hitting them out, hitting them into the net because you've got a really solid game at the net and in the baseline. Well, when you drive with your forehand or your backhand and an advanced player's at the net, do you know what's going to happen? That weapon that you have against 4.0 and below, that weapon, that big backhand, that big forehand, the advanced player's just going to go pop and hit it down as a drop shot, or they're going to hit it away, or they're just going to simply hit it back to you. Then you're going to have to hit another forehand. You'll either hit that into the net or pop it up and they'll smash it away or hit it out. But the thing is, they're going to have no problems getting your drives back, whether they're at the baseline or whether they're at the net. Your drives are no longer a weapon. That's why advanced players know they can't just drive them at the person at the net or at the back, because they're going to lose, right? They're going to end up making the mistakes because the person at the net, it's simple. I just block them back all day. That's why they put in a drop, because a drop then goes into the kitchen and then they have to hit up on it and they can get into the kitchen at that, and they're hoping that that person will then, when they try to hit up on it, they might pop it up and they'll just smash it away. Or they get into a dink rally and wait for the person on the opposite side to make that mistake, either hit into the net, hit it out, or pop it up, right? But it neutralizes the point. That in itself is why the drops are around, right? Because, as I say, for advanced players, they'll hit your drives back all day, every day, or just hit it out for winners. Now, as I say, 99% of people, especially over 50, are going to be playing people 4.0 and below. So this is what you want to do. Work, I know I've got a video at the end of this that you can look at, and the things that you need to focus on, which are target your weakest player in games, not in open play, and I go into this. Work on deep serves, deep returns, work on your drives, work on your volleys, work on your dinks. Forget about doing drops, third shot drops. You do not need to. Use that time to work on the other elements of the game until, let's say, if you're getting 4.0 and playing people above that, and then your shots are not working, like I tell you, the drives are no longer your weapon, then and only then do you need to start considering putting in your drops.